In this lecture, we'll study about the sex chromosome disorders, out of which the most common is the Klinefelter syndrome. अब Klinefelter syndrome में बेसिकली पर्सन मेल होता है जिसने एक एक्स्ट्रा एक्स क्रोमोसोम एक्वायर कर लिया है. नाउ व्हाट इज हैपनिंग इज दैट वो बंदा लंबा चौड़ा होता है, ही इज टॉल एंड ही हैज लॉन्ग एक्सट्रीमिटीज, लेकिन उस लंबा चौड़ा होने के साथ साथ ही हैज गायनेकोमेस्टिया एंड टेस्टिकुलर एट्रोफी एंड ही हैज यूनिकॉइड बॉडी शेप. अजीब सी उसकी मर्दों वाली शेप नहीं होती है. ठीक है. नाउ ही में प्रेजेंट विद डेवलपमेंटल डिले. मतलब क्लाइनफेल्टर सिंड्रोम जब भी आपके जहन में आए तो आपको ये पता होना चाहिए कि ही विल बी अ मेल विद एन एक्स्ट्रा एक्स क्रोमोसोम 47XXY एंड वो एक लंबा चौड़ा बंदा होगा जिसका गायनेकोमेस्टिया होगा और टेस्टिकुलर एट्रोफी होगी एंड अलोंग विद दैट ही विल हैव वन एक्स इनएक्टिवेटेड एक्स क्रोमोसोम. अब नॉर्मल पर्सन में ये हो रहा है कि गोनेडोट्रोफिन हार्मोन रिलीज जो है वो आपका पिट्यूटरी पे एक्ट करता है और पिट्यूटरी से वो ल्यूटिनाइजिंग हार्मोन और फॉलिकुलर स्टिमुलेटिंग हार्मोन बना रहा है. वो ल्यूटिनाइजिंग हार्मोन लिडिक सेल पे जाके एक्ट करते हैं एंड लिडिक सेल टेस्टोस्टेरोन बनाता है. सिमिलरली फॉलिकुलर स्टिमुलेटिंग सेल्स जो है वो जाके आपके सर्टोली सेल पे एक्ट करते हैं और सर्टोली सेल इनहिबिन हार्मोन बनाते हैं जो कि फॉलिकुलर स्टिमुलेटिंग हार्मोन को नेगेटिव फीडबैक मैकेनिज्म के थ्रू कम करता है. But due to this extra X chromosome, these testosterone and inhibin is not produced. अब ये दोनों जो हार्मोन थे, ये टेस्टोस्टेरोन ल्यूटिनाइजिंग हार्मोन पे नेगेटिव फीडबैक इफेक्ट कर रहा था और इनहिबिन जो है वो FSH पे नेगेटिव फीडबैक इफेक्ट कर रहा था. बट जब ये प्रोड्यूस ही नहीं होंगे ड्यू टू दिस एक्स्ट्रा X क्रोमोसोम, देयर इज इंक्रीज्ड FSH एंड LH. अब जब LH ज़्यादा होगा तो वो ज़्यादा ईस्ट्रोजन करवाएगा. सो यू शुड बी नोइंग क्लाइनफेल्टर सिंड्रोम में अ पर्सन इज लाइक अ मेल जो कि लंबा चौड़ा है, ही हैज़ गायनेकोमेस्टिया, ही हैज़ टेस्टिकुलर एट्रोफी, ही हैज़ वन एक्स्ट्रा एक्स क्रोमोसोम, सो हिज जीनोम इज 47XXY. He cannot produce testosterone and the inhibin due to which the FSH and LH increase and as a result he has increased estrogen. तो बेसिकली उसके तीन हार्मोन ज़्यादा हैं, FSH, LH और ईस्ट्रोजन, और दो हार्मोन्स कम हैं जो कि हैं टेस्टोस्टेरोन एंड इनहिबिन. नाउ लेट्स कम टू द टर्नर सिंड्रोम. इन टर्नर सिंड्रोम होता ये है कि ड्यू टू द क्रोमोसोमल नॉन डिसजंक्शन a person has loss of one X chromosome. As a result, he will have a genotype of 45XO and the person is like a female. ठीक है. अब टर्नर सिंड्रोम और क्लाइनफेल्टर सिंड्रोम में क्या फ़र्क था? क्लाइनफेल्टर सिंड्रोम में एक एक्स्ट्रा एक्स क्रोमोसोम आ गया था और वो मेल था. टर्नर सिंड्रोम में एक क्रोमोसोम ख़त्म हो गया है और वो फीमेल है. नाउ दैट फीमेल विल बी शॉर्ट स्ट्रेचर. Her ovaries will be fibrous, just like a streak fibrous ovary. She will have a shield chest, चौड़ी उसकी chest होगी. There will be the bicuspid aortic valve along with aortic coarctation. There will also be lymphatic defects. मतलब कि वो आपको इस तरह से आ सकता है क्वेश्चन में कि एक फीमेल है who is having edema in her legs or arm and she is short stature. And on ultrasound her horseshoe kidneys are found. What is your provisional diagnosis? So provisional diagnosis will be Turner syndrome. So in Turner syndrome there is a short statured female with wide chest along with ovarian dysgenesis or streak ovary and there is coarctation of aorta along with horseshoe kidney. अब देखें टर्नर सिंड्रोम और क्लाइनफेल्टर सिंड्रोम मुझे एक दूसरे के बिल्कुल ऑपोजिट लगते हैं. क्लाइनफेल्टर में एक एक्स्ट्रा एक्स क्रोमोसोम था, इसमें एक मिसिंग एक्स क्रोमोसोम है. क्लाइनफेल्टर में पर्सन टॉल था, इसमें पर्सन शॉर्ट है. क्लाइनफेल्टर में देयर वाज वन बार बॉडी प्रेजेंट वेयर एज इन टर्नर सिंड्रोम नो बार बॉडी इज प्रेजेंट. इन क्लाइनफेल्टर सिंड्रोम देयर वाज इंक्रीज्ड ईस्ट्रोजन वेयर एज इन टर्नर सिंड्रोम देयर इज डिक्रीज्ड एस्ट्रोजन. ठीक है. अब देखें बेसिकली टर्नर सिंड्रोम में होता ये है कि नॉर्मली एक फीमेल में जितने भी एग्स उसके फीटल लाइफ में बनते हैं, दे आर स्टोर्ड इन द ओवरीज एंड दे आर रिलीज्ड वन बाय वन थ्रू आउट द लाइफ। बट टर्नर सिंड्रोम में ड्यू टू द हार्मोनल इम्बैलेंस वो सारे एग्स मीनार्की स्टार्ट होने से पहले ही रिलीज हो जाते हैं एंड ओवरी में कुछ नहीं बचता। जब ओवरी में कुछ नहीं बचता, ओवरी पे हार्मोन्स का इफेक्ट नहीं होता, एज अ रिजल्ट ओवरी इज कन्वर्टेड इनटू द फाइब्रस स्ट्रक्चर। जब वो एक फाइब्रस से बैंड में कन्वर्ट हो जाता है तो ज़ाहिर बात है वो ईस्ट्रोजन नहीं बना सकेगा। बेसिकली ल्यूटिनाइजिंग हार्मोन इज कॉजिंग द ओवरी टू प्रोड्यूस ईस्ट्रोजन। ल्यूटिनाइजिंग हार्मोन तो रिलीज होगा बट ओवरीज कुछ काम करने के लायक ही नहीं रहे तो वो ईस्ट्रोजन नहीं बनाएंगे। व्हेन ईस्ट्रोजन इज नॉट प्रोड्यूस्ड, as a result the negative feedback mechanism is not there, so FSH and LH is increased. Now we saw that why FSH and LH was increased in the Klinefelter syndrome, and because of decreased inhibin and decreased testosterone, and why FSH and LH is increased in the Turner syndrome because of decreased estrogen, and in Klinefelter syndrome there was increased estrogen as well along with increased FSH and LH. Now there is another condition which is the double Y males, in which there is an extra Y chromosome. They are phenotypically normal, they are tall and have normal fertility, but they may have the severe acne, learning disability, autism or spectrum disorders. Now this is really not important. Now let's come to an other topic. Now over testicular disorder of the sex development, they have 46XX or 46XY chromosome, and they have both ovarian and testicular tissue present, but their genitalia are ambiguous, and this was previously known as true hermaphroditism. You should only be knowing that true hermaphroditism has 46XX more commonly than 46XY. Just know this thing and you're done with this true hermaphroditism. Now let's come to the other clinicals. What are the hypospadias? What are the epispadias? Hypospadias is the abnormal opening of the penile urethra on the ventral surface of the penis due to the failure of the urethral folds to fuse. Hypo means below, so there is an abnormal, or instead of urethra opening into the tip of the penis, it is opening on the below surface of the penis. ठीक है, तो hypo means below, so it is hypospadia, and the urethra is opening on the lower surface of the penis. Whereas contrary to that, epispadias, there is an abnormal opening of the penile urethra on the dorsal surface or the above surface. ठीक है, epi means above. So you should be knowing कि there is abnormal positioning of the opening of the urethra. In hypo it is below the penis or the ventral. अब ventral याद रखना इस वजह से ज़रूरी है because एग्जाम में अगर below नहीं आया है, hypo नहीं आया, तो then you will be given this ventral surface of the penis. Like if the opening is on the ventral surface of the penis, what is this condition? It is hypospadias because ventral is below. And in the epispadias there is an opening on the above surface, upper surface, which is dorsal surface. Now you should also be knowing that epispadias is associated with the exostrophy of the bladder. Now there are some other disorders of the sex development, not very important, but you should be knowing at least for the exam. Now in the 46XX disorder of sexual development, as we see that it is the female chromosomes are present, so ovaries are present, but the external genitalia are ambiguous, and it is most commonly due to the excessive or inappropriate exposure to the androgenic steroids. And this androgynous steroids may be due to the congenital adrenal hyperplasia or the administration of androgens during the pregnancy. It is also known as the female pseudohermaphrodite. So in congenital adrenal hyperplasia, there is a condition known as female pseudohermaphrodite in which the chromosomes are 46XX, the ovaries inside the body are present but the external genitalia are ambiguous. Similarly, in male pseudohermaphrodism, the chromosomes are of male, the testes are present but the genitalia are that of the female or ambiguous. And the most common cause is androgen insensitivity syndrome. In this androgen insensitivity syndrome, the androgen receptors are defective and androgen is not recognized, and as a result it does not work. So the chromosome are of the male, testes are present but the genitalia are ambiguous. It is the male pseudohermaphrodism, whereas it is the female pseudohermaphrodism. So in pseudohermaphrodism, we know that the one thing is that the chromosome are that of the specific male or a female, but the genitalia are not of that. In the female pseudohermaphrodism, chromosome are XX, but the genitalia are ambiguous due to the congenital adrenal hyperplasia. Whereas in the male pseudohermaphrodism, the testes are present, but the genitalia are ambiguous due to the androgen insensitivity. Now there is another condition which is the placental aromatase aromatase deficiency. In this there is inability to synthesize the estrogens from the androgens, and as a result, due to the increased androgen, there is the masculinization of the female infants. There is increased the androgens, and it can present with the maternal virilization during the pregnancy. Now what happens is that इसमें बेसिक डिफेक्ट ये आ रहा है कि एंड्रोजन से ही एस्ट्रोजन बनते हैं, लेकिन ड्यू टू एनी एंजाइम डेफिशिएंसी वो एंड्रोजन से एस्ट्रोजन नहीं बन रहा, तो जो फीमेल बच्चा होगा दैट विल बी मोर लाइक अ मेल, क्योंकि उसमें टेस्टोस्टेरोन ज़्यादा हो गया. ठीक है. नाउ androgen insensitivity syndrome, as we discussed here, it is a defect in the androgen receptor resulting in the normal appearing female, external female genitalia with scant sexual hair, rudimentary vagina, uterus and fallopian tubes are absent, and the patient developed normal functioning testes. Now it is very interesting. The genes are that of a male, the testes are present, but the appearance is of the female, क्योंकि टेस्टोस्टेरोन जो कि आपके सेक्सुअल सेकेंडरी कैरेक्टर्स जो है वो डिफाइन करता है, वो बनाता है, वो है ही नहीं. वो है सही, लेकिन उसके जो रिसेप्टर्स हैं वो डिफेक्टिव हैं. अब उन रिसेप्टर के डिफेक्टिव होने की वजह से वो टेस्टोस्टेरोन काम नहीं करेगा. तो बेशक आपका जेनेटिक मेकअप मेल का हो, बट यू विल बी लाइक अ नॉर्मल अपेयरिंग फीमेल विद एक्सटर्नल फीमेल जेनिटेलिया एंड स्कैंट सेक्सुअल हेयर, and uterus fallopian tube is absent. There is increased testosterone, estrogen and ज़ाहिरी बात है जब वो रिसेप्टर्स काम नहीं करेंगे तो बॉडी विल थिंक कि हार्मोन इनफ नहीं प्रोड्यूस हो रहा. दे विल इंक्रीज द luteinizing hormone which will increase the estrogen and testosterone. So androgen insensitivity syndrome leads to male pseudohermaphrodism. And what is androgen insensitivity syndrome? There is defective androgen receptor, तो secondary sexual characters develop नहीं होंगे, and as a result the person will have testes but he will be a female, but the genetic makeup will be of male. Now there is another condition that is the 5-alpha reductase deficiency. It is an autosomal recessive condition, and in this condition there is inability to convert the testosterone into the dihydrotestosterone. As a result, there are ambiguous genitalia until the pregnancy, until the puberty, and as a result, due to this 5-alpha reductase deficiency, the testosterone is not converted to dihydrotestosterone, which will lead to the ambiguous genitalia until the puberty. But when the puberty is reached, the testosterone is also increased, which causes the masculinization, so the internal genitalia are normal. This is not very important. You should be just knowing what is the female pseudohermaphrodism, what is the male hermaphrodism, and what are the causes of the female pseudohermaphrodism, that is the congenital adrenal hyperplasia, and what is the cause of the male pseudohermaphrodism, that is the androgen insensitivity syndrome. That's it. नाउ लेट्स कम टू द कैलमैन सिंड्रोम। कैलमैन सिंड्रोम में बेसिकली इससे फ़र्क नहीं पड़ता कि वो मेल है या फीमेल है, जस्ट ये हो रहा है कि पर्सन अपनी प्यूबर्टी को कंप्लीट नहीं कर सकता। वो कैसे? बेसिकली जो सेल्स गोनेडोट्रोफिन रिलीजिंग हार्मोन्स बनाते हैं वो हाइपोथैलेमस में मौजूद ही नहीं होते इस कंडीशन में, एंड एज अ रिजल्ट देयर इज आल्सो नो ऑल्फैक्टरी बल्ब फॉर्मेशन। अब देखें, जब ना गोनेडोट्रोफिन रिलीजिंग हार्मोन होगा ना ऑल्फैक्टरी बल्ब होगा तो क्या होगा? ना गोनेडोट्रोफिन रिलीजिंग हार्मोन होगा तो एफएसएच और एलएच भी नहीं प्रोड्यूस होंगे। जब एफएसएच और एलएच नहीं प्रोड्यूस होंगे तो टेस्टोस्टेरॉन भी नहीं प्रोड्यूस होगा। टेस्टोस्टेरॉन नहीं प्रोड्यूस होगा तो उससे फीमेल हार्मोन भी नहीं प्रोड्यूस होगा, एस्ट्रोजन वगैरह। तो बेसिकली इन दिस कंडीशन द सेकेंडरी सेक्सुअल कैरेक्टर्स do not develop. In this condition, due to the loss of the olfactory bulb formation, there is anosmia. So, Kallmann syndrome is the syndrome in which the gonadotrophin releasing hormone are not transported to the hypothalamus. Gonadotropin releasing hormone producing cells are not transported to the hypothalamus, and as a result, no gonadotropin releasing hormone is produced. When no gonadotropin releasing hormone is produced, no FSH and LH produced, as a result no testosterone produced, so there is loss of the secondary sexual characters as well as puberty. Moreover, there is also malformation or absence of formation of the olfactory bulb, and as a result there is anosmia.
So basically, hydatidiform mole is the cystic swelling of chorionic villi, and there is proliferation of the chorionic epithelium. One thing to be kept in mind is that only trophoblast is proliferating. ठीक है? Now, what is the hydatidiform mole? It is the cystic swelling of chorionic villi, and it is the proliferation of the chorionic epithelium, and only trophoblast is proliferating. It presents in the first trimester with the vaginal bleeding, uterine enlargement more than expected, and pelvic pressure. Now, what happens? The HCG is increased, so there is early preeclampsia, there is hyperemesis gravidarum and hyperthyroidism, along with theca lutein cyst. Now, this hydatidiform mole is divided into the complete mole and the partial mole. In the complete mole, the karyotype is 46XX or 46XY, and in the complete mole and empty egg is fertilized by the single or double sperm. If the single sperm fertilizes an empty egg, 46XX is formed and 46XY is formed when the two sperms fertilize a single egg. Now, whereas in partial mole, a single egg is fertilized, single egg which contains its own genome is fertilized by the two sperms, whereas in complete mole the egg is empty. In the complete mole, no fetal parts are formed and only there are cluster of the grapes, whereas in the partial mole fetal parts are formed. Now, in the complete mole there is increased risk of malignancy, and the most common of which is choriocarcinoma, whereas in the partial mole there is decreased risk of choriocarcinoma and the risk of malignancy is also less. Now, the symptoms of this hydatidiform mole is the first trimester bleed along with the enlarged uterus with hyperthyroidism, preeclampsia and excessive vomiting. There is also vaginal bleeding and abdominal pain. Now, one thing to be kept in mind is that in complete mole there is snowstorm appearance of the uterus on the ultrasound, and there is a discharge of cluster of grapes. ग्रेप लाइक मतलब छोटे छोटे वेसिकल्स होते हैं ग्रेप लाइक जो कि वजाइना में से भी डिस्चार्ज हो रहा होता है उनका. और in other words we can say there is honeycombed appearance of uterus in the complete mole, whereas in the partial mole we can see the fetal parts on the ultrasound. So कंप्लीट मोल और पार्शियल मोल में हम दोबारा से समराइज करते हैं कि कंप्लीट मोल में जो क्रोमोसोम उनका कैरियोटाइप होता है दैट इज 46XX और 46XY, वेयर एज इन द पार्शियल मोल it is 69XXX or 69XXY or 69XYY. In the complete mole, there is enucleated egg with no genome and it is fertilized by the single sperm or the double sperm, whereas in the partial mole, a single egg is fertilized by the double sperm always. In the complete mole, no fetal parts are formed, only there are cluster of grapes, and in the partial mole, fetal parts are formed. In the complete mole, on ultrasound, you can see the honeycombed uterus or the snowstorm appearance, whereas in the partial mole, you can see the fetal parts on the ultrasound. In the complete mole, there is increased risk of malignancy, that is 15 to 20%, whereas in partial mole, the risk of malignancy is only less than 5%. In the complete mole, there is increased risk of choriocarcinoma, whereas this choriocarcinoma is rare in the partial mole. This comes in the exam. Increased risk of choriocarcinoma is in the complete mole. So you should be knowing what is the hydatidiform mole. It is the proliferation of the trophoblastic layer of the chorionic epithelium or the cystic swelling of the chorionic villi. How does it present? It presents with the enlarged abdomen, hyperemesis gravidarum, and bleeding in the first trimester. Moreover, pelvic pressure and the beta HCG is very much raised, especially in the complete mole. So this is another difference, that the beta HCG is very much raised in the complete mole as compared to the partial mole, and uterine size is also more increased in the complete mole than the partial mole. Thank you. Now let's come to this clinical condition in which a 31-year-old woman comes to the office complaining of having a fever and being nauseous and losing weight. The weight loss is about 15 pounds and it's over a month. She tells you that she had a miscarriage about 2 months ago and all of a sudden these problems have occurred. She adds that she had also preeclampsia in her previous pregnancy, which she had miscarriage. And she says that she was supposed to come back but she didn't come due to the depression and she was eating a lot, and now she thinks that by the food she has eaten she should have gained weight, but she has not. She has lost 15 pounds. So what is the clinical condition? A lady with one previous miscarriage comes to the office with the complaints of nausea, fever and losing weight. The weight loss is about 15 pounds. And 2 months ago she had a miscarriage, and in that pregnancy she also had the preeclampsia. Now our differentials will be that she was having a depression, so there will be loss of appetite or malnutrition or hyperthyroidism, and there are no relevant exam finding, but on lab finding there is elevated HCG. So we are thinking here of choriocarcinoma, which is due to the complete mole, and there is a risk of 5% of choriocarcinoma in the complete mole pregnancy. So this is the result of her pre-malignant condition of hydatidiform mole, which presents with a preeclampsia during the first trimester and elevated HCG and progressing. There is also the malnutrition and loss of appetite, but they were excluded because she mentioned that she was eating a lot of food, and hyperthyroidism was excluded because there was no mention of elevated TSH. So this is the typical scenario of the choriocarcinoma, in which the previous pregnancy was molar and which has further led to the choriocarcinoma in just 2 months. So whenever there is a condition in which there is preeclampsia and miscarriage in the previous pregnancy, and then the female comes with the loss of weight or fever or nausea, think of choriocarcinoma, because choriocarcinoma is common. It has a risk of 2% in the complete mole.